Good afternoon. In this video, I want to briefly look at Gene Kim. Just put a recent video out, talk about the airline that was shut down by Iran. These guys can't help themselves. Now they're linking all this stuff to prophecy. A while back, he made a video criticizing Robert Breaker over the issue of the rapture being imminent, which I give him a thumbs up on. Now he's into that stuff. There's no prophecy has to happen for the rapture, people. This is not all prophecy. This is not prophecy stuff. He's got a video up. Boeing 737 crash. What will happen next? We don't know what's going to happen next. You're not a prophet. Let's watch a few minutes in here.
Okay, with the controversy going on with Iran and America, there was an incident that happened with Boeing 737, and it was supposed to be a Ukrainian airplane. And then coincidentally, when Iran was shooting off the missiles that time, that hours later, what happened was that when this Ukrainian plane was departing, that it crashed actually. And then more than 100 lives were lost actually. No survivors. Absolutely no survivors actually. So there are some, the government is claiming that there was no kind of conspiracy on Iran's part concerning that. But then there are some conspiracy researchers who claim that there might be something more to it than that. Now, I don't know how much of that is true or not, but I am going to give you some interesting points because the type of person that I am is that I just don't believe what the news sources say, popular news sources say one, and neither do I just believe one side or the other just like that. The type of person that I am is I just lay out all the information. That's the kind of person that I am. I lay out all the information, and then what I do is that I filter them out and find what can be matched with Scripture that can be an interesting insight to think about. That's how I do it.
None of this has to relate to Scripture, people. None of this relates to Scripture.
A lot of people, when they look at the news, popular news source, they just believe it easily. A lot of people, once they look at some kind of conspiracy stuff online, they just believe it easily. You can't do that with information. If you do that, you're going to be totally unbalanced. So the final authority should always be Scripture. When you always do Scripture, then all the information out there, it can be filtered out after that. And you don't care about what which side is true or not. You just find out information that is relatable and that is... I can't believe I just lost the vocabulary word for it. That's relatable and that is resourceful, that is valuable,
And how do you know a current event is applicable to Scripture? Remember, people, this guy taught about a year ago, when after Robert Breaker saying there are no prophetic events have to happen for the rapture to happen. Doesn't mean events won't happen that will put in place things for the tribulation. But we can't relate to that. We don't know what things are being put in place and what things aren't. What things relate to the tribulation and what things don't. We have no frame of reference to that. So the idea you're gonna filter these through Scripture is baloney.
Is insightful with the Bible. That's what you need. Okay, let's look at Revelation chapter 13. We notice that the Antichrist, that what he's going to do is that he's going to try to rule over all the world. You'll notice at verse 2, and the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power, and his seat, and great authority. Now notice that this is referring to what? The leopard, right? At verse 2. The beast was like unto a leopard. Now, I've given you a teaching about the seven-headed dragon and ten-horned antichrist. So I'm not going to really expound on this one. But if you watch that teaching, which was a lot of fun, by the way, if you watch that teaching, I mentioned to you that the leopard is representing the United States of America. So notice that the Antichrist said
and that's debatable.
Will have a huge connection with the USA, because the Bible mentions him feet of a bear, mouth of a lion, but his overall major part of the body was, in verse 2, like unto a leopard. You'll notice that. So he's largely going to be connected with America. Now, notice...
So now the beast is connected to America. Get that, people? Now they're saying the beast is connected to America.
That just like JFK and just like Abraham Lincoln, that there's going to be an assassination. Now, what you're going to notice right here is that concerning about these assassination attempts concerning with the previous presidents, they do the same thing with the Antichrist. Because look at verse 3. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death. See, someone tried to kill him. Someone tried to kill him.
They actually do kill him. They kill him. He comes back to life.
And his deadly wound was healed. You'll notice verse 3,
his deadly wound was healed. He gets indwelt by Satan.
Wounded to death.
See? They didn't wound him. He's cat.
So he died.
He died, yeah. So he got wounded, he died.
Wounded all the way to death.
Yeah.
But then what? He healed himself at the middle of verse 3.
He didn't heal himself. Satan healed him.
And all the world wondered after the beast. Now they worship him.
Now what does that have to do with the Boeing 737? Nothing.
They worship him. If you look at, let's see right here. Let's look at verse 5. And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemy. And power was given unto him to continue 42 months. So he continues another 3.5 years trying to rule over all the world. Look at verse 14. And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound. So how was he assassinated? Which had the wound by a what? Sword, and did live. So that's why there are some end-time scholars who suggest that it could be something Muslim here. So there's going to be something Muslim involved.
Now, remember he said, some end-time scholars suggest. Then he moved from suggest to like it's a fact. Notice the shift, people. Some scholars suggest, because it's a sword, that this would be a Muslim. But a sword can mean anything relating to a modern type of death. It's a metaphor. It could be a metaphor being used for any type of violence. But now he just shifted. Some scholars suggest, and now he's going to write it down like a fact.
And if you look at current events, that really seems to match up pretty well.
It's all Robert Breaker stuff, people. Same nonsense.
Muslims, they want to assassinate the U.S. president. And
so now the president is the beast. Or he's saying, he's relating basically, I guess, the beast to the USA, but this is earlier than that happening.
If you look at even right now, the terrorists and the Muslim extremists and etc., and not only that, their own religion themselves.
This is itching ears, people. This is itching ears. They got to take prophecy, which is legitimate, and then try to bring it to current offense. And denying that the rapture is imminent. No prophecy has to happen. Events might be shaping up to set things in place for the tribulation, but we don't know how long it's going to be before what events these are, and how long before the rapture, how long between the rapture and the beginning of 70th week. We don't know any of that.
They do promote and they teach that. And they've always had an antagonism where they want to assassinate and kill the U.S. government. They always want to take over. That has always been their mindset. So what is pretty interesting concerning some of the conspiracy researchers right here is that this airplane, when it was flying over, that when it crashed, when they looked at the remains over here, they looked at the remains of this plane over here. So it's not an accurate airplane, I know, okay? Come on, have grace with me here. Have grace with me over here. So with this airplane, what they found is that in the wings and other and the rubbles of the airplane over here is that they found like these bullet holes actually. So which is pretty interesting. So I don't know how much of that is true or not.
Yeah, you don't know anybody's true, people. I haven't heard any of that. I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not.
But
according to him, but he's going to tell you like it's bullet holes in there. The Iranians admitted to shooting down the plane. They've had to admit it.
There are some images that are shown if you look up online, where you look at the rubbish and the remains of the airplane, and supposedly there are some of these bullet holes or something that looked like artillery where it was being shot at the airplane. And this was hours after the missile. What's also very interesting is that the airplane course where it was running at the same course where the missiles were located as well, actually, coincidentally. So supposedly where this airplane was flying was similarly on the same course where the missiles were being launched.
Yeah, that's where it got shot down. Jeez.
So I don't know how much of that information is true or not, but I'm
going to spread it. I don't know how much is true. He's a Bible teacher. I don't know how much this information is true or not. But let me put it up there and talk about planes getting shot down and bullet holes in wings. This is PBI double talk nonsense. And talk about the beast and how it relates to the American president. They all get into this stuff.
Tell you something. The Bible shows you that there's going to be Gog and Magog. And the Muslim nations, they will have that conflict with the Antichrist, and that is found at Revelation chapter 6 and Daniel chapter 11.
Yeah, what does that have to do with us? What does that have to do with us?
There will be nations that will not agree with the Antichrist. Nations the Antichrist has to conquer. What is the Antichrist system?
Gog, Magog, they invade Israel. Gog, Magog, that's in Ezekiel. Invade Israel, and God destroys them. And they're burying the bodies for years.
You know, the United Nations. United Nations. That's a no-brainer right there. Look at the nations who are disagreeing with the United Nations. What are they? It's generally the communist nations or the Muslim nations. See, that current events already laid it out for you, and the Bible's prophecy is already being unfolded right in front of your eyes. So it's amazing.
There's no prophecy here, people. Nothing he's told you is prophetic. Prophecy is absolute truth. These are events that may or may not have relationship to things put in place for prophecy. But he doesn't know any of this has to do with prophecy.
Amazing how much of that Bible is way ahead of you. So, while this is going on, these tensions with America and Iran is going on, obviously the liberals and the Democrats are throwing a fit about it, right? And liberals and Democrats, all they are, as you'll always notice, is that these people, they will always try to sympathize with Islam, and they would...
Remember, this is a guy who doesn't want you to vote for Trump. But the Democrats all sympathize with Islam. Don't vote for Trump, though.
Try to glorify and magnify Islam and say, oh, the poor people, etc., etc. And that's why you got the Palestinian conflict. So it is such a mess. But in CNN, because they always want to sully Trump and his presidency and etc. Now, I don't agree with everything he does either, but I don't like what the liberal system is doing either. I don't like them even more. But what CNN did was, which is pretty hilarious, they had this woman, I may not pronounce her name right, but Masume Ebtekar, and she's supposed to be the vice president of women and family affairs in the Iranian region. They had her speak at CNN, and obviously she was talking about like how this was not good of Trump, and what he did was terrorist of him, etc., which is pretty funny concerning the Muslim crowd that she came from. Because where she came from, in case that you didn't know, she was actually in charge of a U.S. hostage situation that happened in the Muslim region. So they kept all these they kept these people hostages. And in fact, if you even doubt me, even Glenn Beck posted the video in his news.
What's that to do with anything, people? Nothing. This isn't teaching the Bible. This is just talking about current events, you know, and the fact that, you know, it could be Muslim armies walking down and united with the Gog and Magog with the... This is shown back in the 70s, how Lindsay and the other the dispensationalists would talk about who Magog and Magog were. And they show up again, Gog and Magog show up again at the revolution at the end of the millennium as well. So, but it's been located like the Soviet Union. I mean, not the Soviet Union, but the Russians coming down, attacking Israel.
Of course, and you'll see a full clip where she was speaking in front of the news reporter that we keep these hostages, and then they mentioned about, but the hostages are not to blame for the government, right? And she don't care about that. She mentioned that it doesn't matter; they're still part of the system. So if they start to go against us, then we will kill these hostages, etc. We will do harm to these hostages. And that's the person CNN invited to speak. You know what that is? I'll tell you what that is. It's cuckoo. That's cuckoo. That's being a liberal. If you're a liberal, you're a cuckoo, man. If you're a Democrat, you're a cuckoo, man. It's so funny, man. Hypocritical of these people. Oh, Trump, you know, shaking hands with the North Korean dictator, etc. Who are you to invite this kind of person? You know what? You know what? Both parties are hypocrites on both ends. It doesn't matter.
See? Now they're going to say hypocrites on both parts. In other words, the American system is you're going to vote for one or the other. One or the others are getting in, people. So they'll tell you about how bad Democrats are, but they'll tell you don't vote for Trump. So Democrats get in.
It doesn't matter on both ends. It's just stupidity at its finest. Stupidity at its finest. But you know what's going on right here? What's going on is what the scriptures prophesy.
Okay.
The Antichrist.
What did the scripture prophesy regarding this? Nothing.
USA tries to make peace.
Now, he hasn't established that the leopard is USA, people. There's disagreements on who the leopard is. We don't know for sure if it's USA or another country. Right? You know, there are differences, opinions on who the leopard is. But once these guys get into something, say, now we're going to say it's leopard's USA, now we're going to move on and prove it. It's one of the reasons they say the leopard is USA because the mixture of the races in there. He doesn't mention that. So you got all different colors, yellow, black, and white. He doesn't mention that. At least he hasn't in this video.
With everybody, including these people. And they will do it by conquest. Hence, you got that stupid war that went on with the Bushes. And then because of that, you know, we're doing this for peace. And then because of that, even both parties were not happy. And I think even George Bush even regretted about what he did with this thing concerning about the war with this Muslim countries. But aside from that point, the point is this. The point is that you see current events on the way with already what the Bible prophesied. The Antichrist tries to make peace with every nation, including these people. But through words of peace is conquering and to conquer. Well, guess what? These nations are still going to resist, the Bible shows. At Daniel 11 and Revelation 6. And guess what? One of them tries to assassinate and even kills. The beast is going to be a ruler of the U.S. presidency and all the world, the United Nations. So he's going to take control over everything. And then one day, whether it be a Muslim or somebody else, is going to assassinate.
Whether it be a Muslim or somebody else. He just spent 12 minutes telling you about current events. And now he said at 12:27, whether a Muslim or somebody else. You know what he told you over 12 minutes, people? Zero. Nothing.
The beast, the Antichrist, and his greatest...
And he doesn't know anything about who the leopard is. He doesn't know anything about... The prophecy is that the Antichrist is going to take over Europe. A 10-nation confederation. But he's going to tell a Muslim or somebody else, this is all filler nonsense, just like Robert Breaker.
Triumph is where he raised himself from the dead.
He doesn't raise him. What does it say raise himself from the dead? Satan raises him up and dwells him. He doesn't raise himself up from the dead. He's not God. He's not God. Satan indwells him, heals the wound, and raises him up. And he goes sits in the temple. And that's the time of Jacob's trouble. That's mid-trib. All these guys talking about the time of Jacob's trouble at the beginning of Daniel's 7th week. The Antichrist comes in with peace. Now the tribulation begins with the time of Daniel's trouble. But the time of Daniel's 7th week. But the time of Jacob's trouble is mid-trib. So you got there Brian Daniel talking about the time of Jacob's trouble. That's mid-trib, people. That's Jeremiah 37. That's what the Lord said. As soon as you see the abomination of desolation in the temple, you're supposed to flee. That's mid-trib period. And you can't keep the Mosaic law anymore. All these people talking about tribulational saints have to keep the Mosaic law. They can't keep the tribulational law, the Mosaic law when they're fleeing. There's no more temple. They can't get in the temple.
Days later, like Jesus Christ. And
like Jesus Christ? Oh no. Oh no. He can't raise himself like Jesus Christ. He's not Jesus Christ. He can't raise himself like Jesus Christ. He gets indwelt by Satan, who raises him up.
Peace be unto you. I got the victory over death and hell. And that's why some of these nations are going to side with the Antichrist even more. And then the latter three...
And you know what the eternal security of the saints are? Saints are what these guys reject? They're not deceived. That's what they don't want to tell you. Oh, there's no eternal security for the tribulational saints. The Lord doesn't allow them to be deceived by this. All the signs and wonders are so great a deception that if it were possible, the elect would get deceived. But God shortens the days so they don't get deceived. They don't tell you that. He's not telling you that. All the attacks on, there's no eternal security in the tribulation period. Well, the whole world gets deceived. And the prophet, the false prophet, he's making fire come down from the heaven and doing all this stuff, deceiving people. The elect don't get deceived.
2.5 years, then he conquers and persecutes the Jewish people. And then the Muslim people can carry out the Antichrist order, because what is interesting is that these tribulation saints, who consist of a lot of Jews, they get killed by what? Beheading. And that's according to Muslim holy writings, where they said that if it be an infidel that doesn't follow their system, you chop off their head. The Bible is...
It could also be part of like the French Revolution, where they used the guillotine. This guy hasn't told you one fact, people. Everything he told you here was conjecture, supposition. It might be a Muslim or somebody else.
It's way ahead.
Oh, wow, the Bible's way ahead of everything. We haven't told us anything about the Bible. All you told us were things you thought might happen. And this could be this, and this might be that.
Ahead. Wild stuff. We're getting there, folks.
Oh, we're getting there? Well, the rapture can happen today. And then everything is going to be put in place, could be put in place that needs to be put in place. None of this has anything we know about happening in relation to the tribulation. He put a whole thing about the Boeing 737 going up there. He didn't say one thing about how that relates to tribulation or prophecy. Not one thing.
We're getting there.
Not one thing. So I'm going to stop, put this up. This is how you do it. You throw in some true stuff about the prophecy, suppositions, conjecture, and then you start putting current events in there and say, what did the plane have to do anything with? And then he talks to the Muslim. They use the sword, and could be a Muslim, someone else. Someone else. Yeah, they don't know. That's why these guys, Robert Blake and these guys, they're all a bunch of liars. See, this is happening, that happening. This might be that. This could be this. What about the plane? Should about the plane shooting down a plane? The American, the beast is America. The reason that the Ruckman, I think, said it was a beast was because the races were integrated. Yeah. I tell you, themselves a race. They're black, yellow, and white. But other nations have been identified, could be identified as leopard. Just don't know. A lot of it is conjecture. A lot of it is basically, sometimes you get educated guesses on it. And say, well, this looks likely this, that, you know. But basically, none of the current events have anything to do with prophecy, as far as prophecy is concerned. They could be setting things that will occur after the rapture that are laid up. But he's trying to relate these current events to a prophetic, the tribulation. And he's just up dancing with the Muslims. And the Muslims, you know, they kill with the sword. And, you know, and the Antichrist. The Antichrist raises himself up. The Antichrist can't rise himself up. He's not God. Jesus Christ raised himself up because he is God. The Antichrist is a man. Satan indwells him. That's why he gets raised up. And then the false prophet, you know, at the end, the false prophet and the Antichrist get thrown alive into the lake of fire. But you get these guys. Double talk. And now he's into the sensationalism. Look at this, look at that. This could be this could be that. Oh. He hasn't told you one thing. 12 minutes in, he didn't tell you one substantial fact about the issue of anything relating to a true prophetic event. It's all itching ear people. Itching ears. We know every day we get closer to the rapture. But God has a timetable. He hasn't told us it. Back in 1940s, they thought Hitler, Mussolini, and Tojo were the Antichrist. And they thought the tribulation was going to happen, and they thought Hitler was the Antichrist, and he set up the Third Reich. They thought, oh, this is it. So don't stop with this up. Just show you the hypocrisy of these guys. The real Bible believers. Amen. Thank you.